Okay, so this is going to be the second part of this September the 11th session for the PIN 223 section 2. This recorded session is going to be hopefully uploaded to the LMS. Well, actually, I already posted the link to this YouTube channel. I'm adding all of the sessions to this YouTube channel, and so you can find in this playlist all the videos for this session. I'm not going to be posting individually each one of the links to each one of the sessions, so you have to click on the link for the YouTube channel, and it will take you to the specific playlist for this section. So that's what we're going to do in order to record the sessions, so everyone has access to them. So, as I mentioned before, there's a high inconsistency in terms of how the English as a language behaves. Now, let's try to find some certainty in this very uncertain times. We can classify words from a point of view of the number of syllables as monosyllabic, monosyllables, disyllables, and polysyllables, or monosyllabic words, disyllabic words, polysyllabic words, meaning one syllable, two syllables, three or more. Okay, they can be classified in those groups according to the number of syllables. And we have to agree that if we have a word containing two or more syllables, at least one of them, at least one, is going to be louder or longer, or will have a higher pitch. Remember these three characteristics of the stressed or the most prominent syllables, right? So those are some general rules or a common ground, and that's something that I would call certainty. This is certain. Now, in short words, two-syllable words, we will see that there's a primary stress, right? And the primary stress is shown, as we can see in the example, in the syllable that is nash, which is the 1, 2, 3, the third syllable. How can we identify the primary stress? By this stroke in the upper left-hand corner, right? Primary. International. International has also a secondary stress that we can see at the very beginning. The secondary stress that is present in some words, which have, I would say, more than 4 or 5 syllables, will be shown visually, right? Shown here at the bottom left corner. Okay, and many of the words that have a primary and a secondary stress are composed by two nouns, or sometimes by a prefix and a noun or adjective, as this case. If you see international, the word international, we can divide it, I guess, in two, right? International. We can even use the first section, inter, with other words. Can you think about words that may contain this segment, inter? Do you know any word that has this inter at the very beginning? Katya, do you know any words containing the word inter at the very beginning? Javier Avila? Excellent, Guillermo. Internet. What's the idea of internet? Does it have to do with the same thing with international? Is there a relationship between the segment used for the word international and for the word internet? What do you think? Does anyone remember any other word that contains this segment, inter?
Intermedical.
Perfect. Intermedical. Wonderful. Any other? Internet, intermedical. Intersexual. Excellent. Very good, Guillermo. So intersexual, internet, intermedical. What about the word interact? Would it be a good interaction? Excellent. Very well done, Daniel. Interaction. So if we see this segment, inter, does it have a meaning that could be applied in all of these examples? Internet, intersexual, interaction, intermedical, international. Yes? No? Do you get? Do you understand the same thing when we refer to this specific segment? Intermittent. Thank you, Carlos. Do we get the same idea? What do you think? I leave that to you to think, okay? So in general, there's a high probability that we can have the same scenario whenever we're using this segment that goes before a noun or an adjective, and that has probably the same meaning: international, interaction, intermedical, probably between or among, right? Between or among nations, between on among I don't know, medical institutions, for example, or doctors, right? Probably there's a high probability that we are going to stress or place the primary stress in the root word, and we're going to use a secondary stress in this segment. Okay, goes at the beginning. So in terms of primary of stress, we're going to find different levels: primary stress, secondary stress, and sometimes we're going to have an even stress, which is quite uncommon, by the way. Okay, a double stress, that's quite. We're not stressing either of the two syllables. 15, Berlin. Okay, but in general, primary stress and secondary stress, that's something I would like you to consider as important. Some authors even talk about a tertiary stress. We're not going to go that much deeper. Okay. How do we place the stress? I mean, what are some of the common rules that we can apply? So here we have a couple of ideas that are going to help us to find some common ground, some common rules. And I'm going to ask for some help here. Carla Trujillo, can you be in charge of the first part? And Catherine Maturana, can you take over the second part? When I say the first part, I'm talking about this. And the second part, I'm talking about that. Is that okay with you guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Counting on you.
Okay. Every English word has a definite place for the stress. If we stress the wrong syllable, it may create a misunderstanding. Although stress placement in English words is very complicated, we still can find some rules to observe. General rules of stress placement for simple words. For most English words of two syllables, the stress usually falls in the first syllable. Common, nation, open, study, sorry.
For words of 3 or more syllables, the stress usually falls on a third syllable from the end. Universe, article, relative, democracy, economy. Compounds. Most compounds bear primary stress on the first element. Sports ground, bathroom, language teacher.
Thank you so much for your participation. I do appreciate it. Now, I'm going to ask everyone to find examples. Think about at least I would say 4 words, at least 4 words that that may comply with the instructions, the general rules. At least 4 words. Just think about 4 words. One of them may be following this one, a 2-syllable word containing the stress on the first syllable, or the second one could be a 3 or more syllable word containing the stress on the third syllable, counting from right to left, by the way. Universe. 1, 2, 3. So the stress falls on the third syllable from the end, from right to left. Democracy. Democracy. 1, 2, democracy. Democracy. So the stress goes on the third syllable from right to left. Or a compound noun in which the first element is the stressed, such as sports ground, bathroom, language teacher. Think about 4 words, okay, all of you, and then I'm going to call you to give examples, okay? So now you have 30 seconds to think about 4 words that may comply, and then you will tell us which rule are these 4 words following, okay? So you have 30 seconds counting now. All right, hope you're ready. Are you? Katia, give us your 4 words and tell us which is the rule that they are following, please.
The first rule, I can find the word nation. Oh, make. The word make.
Okay, go on. Nation.
Yeah. And I did the second rule too, but I have one, and the compound, the most compound, I have one too.
Okay, so which are the words?
National and the most compound alarm clock.
Perfect, excellent, Katia. Thank you so much. Excellent, very good. Let's screen here. Javiera Avila, what are your words and which rule do they follow?
Can you listen to me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. For the first, I found childhood. For general, 2 syllables.
and reason. And
Okay.
for the second, I found motorcycle and grandmother. And for the last one, I didn't I didn't find.
All right, thank you so much. I think you did a very, very fine job. Childhood is one, right? I'm going to remember that one because we're going to use it for a different example, okay? Childhood. Thank you very much for your cooperation in this exercise. Let's screen for, does anyone would like to volunteer? Catalina Toro, are you ready with your exercise?
Yes, Professor.
Go on, please.
I have one in the general rule, and the word is control. And in the second rule of the 3 or more syllables, I have the word presentation. And in the last one, I found the word old-fashioned. Old-fashioned.
Alrighty. I think they are very interesting examples because the first one you said was control,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yes, and when you say control, you actually are stressing the second syllable and not the first one. But some people
Yes.
say, some people say control and
Or
control.
control.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the second example you used was sorry, can you?
Presentation.
Presentation. Yeah.
Yes.
Presentation, which would have 4 syllables. So yes, 3 or more syllables.
Or more.
Yeah. And presentation, if we stress the second syllable from right to left, it has 4 syllables. Presentation. So I would say that the second syllable is the stressed one.
Yes.
So it is a very good example, though, because as you see, this one has 4 syllables, and the rule says 3 or more syllables. So you're fine. But actually, a presentation will be an exception. Okay.
Yes, because of I think it follows a rule with the words that ends in Asian, as television, presentation, or something like that. They are kind of an exception.
That's right. We're going to see that some rules are related to derivatives or words that have a root and prefixes or suffixes are added. So presentation would be a word that derivates from present, and Asian would be called suffix. So that's a different word. But great example, because actually you're showing how inconsistent the English language is.
English has very, very exceptions.
Yeah, probably more exceptions than general rules. Exactly. Yes. Thank you so much. Anyone is interested in showing your words?
Me?
Who's me?
Vanessa.
Vanessa, go on, please.
For the first rule, I have thankful, justice, kidney, and doctor. For the 3 or more syllables, I have terrible, surgery, attitude, and motorcycle. And for the most compound, I don't know if I'm right or not. I have tea bag, pencil case, and paper bin.
Sounds good to me. Sounds really good to me. I really I would really like to keep handy that list. If you can, I mean, keep it handy, okay? Because at some point I'm going to ask you, don't tell anyone, but I may ask you in a quiz, provide examples to exemplify the general rules about stress placement. So those are very good examples, okay?
Okay, thank
But
you.
don't tell anyone, right? Okay, there are other rules that apply to double stress. As I told you before, this is not very general. Paper tiger, leather shoes, cotton cloth, and boiling water or boiling water, right? They are supposed to have a double stress, meaning that both elements receive the same amount of emphasis. Okay, not quite a general, because in general it's either the primary element or the second element, the one that receives some sort of emphasis. And very few compounds receive the primary stress. Very few compounds bear primary stress on the second element. I'm sorry, if you don't see this, I wouldn't blame you. Second element, the second element, such as without, mankind, whatever, myself, forever. If you see in all of these compounds, it's the second element, the one that receives more emphasis, or the one which is more prominent. Okay. The rules for derivatives. If you don't know what a derivative is, this has to do with grammar. They are words formed with the root, and then a suffix is added at the end, or a prefix is added at the beginning. Okay, and what are some of the rules that are applied to these words? This is what we're going to see now. We're not going to read them all, but take a look at the last line, mistake. Let's identify the root. The root would be take, right? And the prefix is going to be miss, and mistake. The prefix miss is not attracting the stress, so we don't say mistake. We add the prefix, and the root, the verb in this case, keeps the stress. Take, mistake. The same with the following, fortune. The root of this word is fortune. Fortune. And we add the prefix miss, but still the word is pronounced misfortune. The same syllable keeps the same level of stress. The same with carriage, miscarriage. Prison, imprison. Possible, impossible. Okay. The rule for these words is that they have 2 or 3 syllables, and there is a prefix at the beginning. So usually the stress falls on the second syllable, or another way to say it, the prefix does not attract the stress, so the same syllable that was stressed in the root at the beginning or originally keeps it. I don't know if this is clear. Is this clear or not? Take a look at the word discover. Discover has 1, 2, 3 syllables. For words of 2 or 3 syllables with one of the following prefixes, the prefix here in this word is dis. That's the prefix, right? The stress usually falls on the second syllable. 1, dis, 2, ka. So this word is following this suggested rule, right? The other way to look at this is the word cover is stressed on ka, the first syllable. And if you add a prefix like this, like this, right? This cover, this does not attract the stress, as it happens with some, specifically some suffixes, that sometimes there's a shift of the stress from one syllable to a different syllable in the word. Another rule, and more examples, are here in the following. And I'm going to ask Darwin Quesada if you would kindly read this slide, please. Darwin, are you here?
Sorry, could you repeat?
Yes, could you read the slide, please? Can you see the slide?
The slide. Yeah.
Could you read it aloud?
From the beginning? Okay. Well, number 2. For words with one of the following suffixes, the stress usually falls on the preceding syllable of the suffix. Eos, graphy, oil, ion, ik, x, ions, int, ifi, ion, ios, it, I, courteous, biography, editorial, historian, systematic, phonetics, experience, sufficient, identify, perfection, ambition, curiosity, protective.
Thank you so much, Darwin. Very, very kind of you. So let's see what we get here. If you find any of these suffixes, remember the suffixes are attached to the root at the end, right? The stress usually falls on the preceding syllables. So before the suffix, courteous, courteous. The word is court, courteous. So this is the stressed syllable, the first one, before the suffix, right? And so I think it's quite interesting to see this perfection. I think is this one, right? Perfection. We see it here. And the word is perfect, the verb, perfect, the adjective, right? Perfect, the adjective, perfect, the verb. Perfection, perfection. So before the suffix, fect, right, is the stress is going to fall on. Okay? So I want you to think about 3 words that contain these suffixes, different suffixes for each one of the words, right? Words that might follow these rule. One, the stress usually falls on the preceding syllable. Okay, think about 3 words with a different suffix in which we can see this example. The words cannot be the ones that are here, okay? So you have 30 seconds to think about 3 words that are follow this specific rule, okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's time's up. So who's ready, willing, and able to share? Let's see, any little hand? I don't see any little hand. No little hand. No little hand is up. Carla Trujillo, which are your 3 words?
I have vision. I don't know if they're correct. I couldn't think of any other. Automatic and obsession.
All right, excellent, excellent. Tell us about the last one. I think it was obsession.
Yeah.
Yeah. So probably this one, right? The same one that it's search. Oh, okay. And it comes from which is the root? Obsession. This is a suffix. This is attached to another word, right?
Obsess.
Perfect. Obsess. Excellent. Obsess. That's the root. This is a suffix attached to the word. Perfect. Obsess. Obsession. It's the same syllable, right? The same syllable. No change in terms of stress. Thank you so much. Do we have any other volunteer? I know that Carla was forced into it, right? But any volunteer? Maria Francisca Rebeco, do you have your 3 words?
Yes.
Go on.
So the first one is problematic. Then the other one is gravity. And the other one is efficient.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you so much. Good choices. Very good choices.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Any volunteer? Catalina Salcedo. Catherine Maturana first, and then Catalina Salcedo. Catherine, go on, please.
Okay, I have Georgios.
Yes, start with G, the first one. G. So you say
gorgeous.
Exactly. Perfect.
Okay. Gorgeous and affection.
Mm-hmm.
And
what was the last one?
platonic.
Excellent. Platonic. Very, very, very good. Good choices. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Alrighty. Catalina Salcedo, are you here? And then Guillermo?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good.
I have interaction, duality, and automatic.
Perfect. Very well done. Very well done. Thank you so much. Guillermo, what are your choices? Oh, sorry. Politician, problematic, adoptive. Excellent, Guillermo. Thank you so much. The choices are in the chat box. Thank you very much. Very, very good. Do we have any other volunteers? No more volunteers?
Me?
Yes, go on, please.
I have geography, institution, and certainty.
Excellent, Catalina. Thank you very much. Very good choices as well. All righty. Carlos Padilla, go on, please.
Incision, interruption, activity.
And activity. Excellent.
Activity.
Thank you, Carlos. Yes, very good choices. Thank you so much. So the uncertainty of the English language leaves us a little bit of space to find some rules that can be applied. As you can see, there are some general rules that can be applied to 2-syllable words, 3 or more syllable words and compounds in general. But also we have some words that are made up of prefixes, right? Or suffixes. Sometimes the prefix or the suffix do not change, nor the prefix or the suffix, they do not change the stress from the original syllable on which the syllable was placed originally in the root of the word. But sometimes, and we're not going to see this today, but sometimes the stress is changed, the primary stress. For example, pay, I'm reading the last example here, the last line. Pay turns to payee. Employ, employee. Journal, journalese. Cigar, cigarette. Picture, picturesque. Okay, so sometimes we are going to see that some suffixes attract the stress, but in general, most of the suffixes do not change the stress placement. So this would give us some sort of certainty in this quite complex language to handle from the pronunciation perspective. I really thank you for your patience and for your participation. And this is going to be the last class before the break. If you are interested in knowing about the evolution of the English language, I think I posted a link before in the chat, so you can take a look at how the different linguistic influences have shaped the English language and why there are so many different rules. Okay, so rules can help, but what helps the most, I would say that it is the more you expose yourself to the language, the more you read and the more you listen to the English language, the more you're going to be aware, or that you are going to be knowledgeable about how these rules may apply without even consciously think about the rules. Sometimes you're going to just find the pronunciation patterns, but by looking at different words that have the same suffix or the same prefix. So you're going to find the pattern, and then even if you don't remember the rule, even if you don't memorize the rule, okay, you're going to be able to apply the rule because you were able to identify the pattern. For example, the suffix shun, like in perfection, you can find it in many other words, intonation, pronunciation. So you find the pattern and you basically identify which syllable should be stressed. Stress is not a minor element in terms of comprehension and communication. Sometimes stress may cause some comprehension issues. So sometimes it's not just that you're not pronouncing the trap or the carrot, or you're not making the p so plosive, but sometimes shifting the stress may have an impact on the listener, in the listener's understanding you. Okay, I'm going to be available, and I know it's going to be a recess, a 1 week recess, but at some point I'm going to be available in case you have questions. I may answer an email if you send me. I really don't mind. But anyway, have a wonderful holiday, a restful break, and a good weekend as well. If there's any other questions, we're going to finish the session for today. Any questions or comments?
Professor?
Yes, ma'am.
Professor, are you going to submit the PPT?
Yes, I added some changes because there were some examples, but I added some theory, some explanations and definitions. So I just made the changes. Yes. So I just made the changes today before this session, and I'm going to update. I'm going to upload this updated version. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No problem. Anytime. Any other questions or comments or suggestions?
I have a question.
Yes.
So if there's a word with more than 2 syllables, we have to count the syllables from right to left, right? Or the other examples were, I don't know.
Yes. In general, if we go back to this example, the example works for words that in general do not have any prefix or suffix. If you have a 3-syllable word or a word that contains more than 3 syllables, in general, you count from right to left and you stress the 3rd syllable. But usually this this rule applies to a rule if the rule does not have a suffix or a prefix. If you identify that the word has a suffix or a prefix, then I think this rule would not apply. Sorry about that, but that's the way it is. So,
okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Carla, but that's why it's very important to link the knowledge that you get from this class with the grammar class. And I'm sure you already saw something about suffixes and prefixes. Have you already?
Yes.
Okay.
I was asking because if we are doing a test and if we see one of these words and we have to count the syllables or something, it can be a little bit tricky.
Absolutely. I do agree with you. So my first piece of advice would be to define whether the words contain or not a suffix. So if they do not contain a suffix or a prefix, I would follow that rule. Count the syllables from right to left and stress the 3rd one. But if you see that they have a suffix, I would probably check out the type of suffix and see if the suffix is not one that attracts the stress, as most of the suffixes. I mean, it happens with most of the suffixes that they don't attract the stress. So in general, I would try to learn about those who make changes or make the stress shift to a different syllable, which are very few. And I think I would probably, if I'm evaluating or assessing this, I would use many examples so you can compare and find out, for example, which is the odd one. Which one does not have the stress on the same syllable? I think that's because I like when you see and find the pattern and see which one does not follow the pattern. 3 words, for example, are stressed on the 1st syllable. One of them is stressed on the 2nd syllable. So you need to identify which one is the odd one. Instead of asking you to repeat a definition that you have learned by heart. I would go for application instead of repeating by heart a definition. Okay. I don't know if there are any other questions or comments. Thank you, Carla, for your comment. And I'm really sorry about not giving you a sort of a confident answer in terms of this is what you have to do, because the language itself is very inconsistent. No further questions? Okay, thank you so much for participating today, for staying till the end, and I'll see you probably on the week of the 20-something, right? I would say on Monday, 21st, I think. Monday the 21st. If you're interested, I'm going to attach to the chat a PDF file. It has 5 pages to read, and it's got sort of a summary of the main concepts that we're going to be dealing with during the semester. It's not a summary that I did, okay? It's a summary that I found, and I think, oh, this is something that I should share with the rest of the students participating in this class. Okay, so I'm going to post it here in the chat. Take a look at the chat later and see if you can download it and read it at some point. Maybe not now, but maybe you will find it a day to read it before the first assessment week, hopefully, or the second assessment week. All right, guys, I'll see you on Monday the 21st. Stay safe. Have a wonderful weekend and restful holiday break. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, teacher.
Bye, teacher.
Bye.
Bye.